Hello everyone, welcome to the Valley News Now Network. Duke Schindler joining you here on this Thursday afternoon. We're just that much closer to Friday. We like to hear that, that's for sure, but we're here for some Watching Your Wallet today, and we're going to dive into a variety of topics. Now these do air before our 4 o'clock shows here, but we want to, and sometimes during the 4 o'clock shows, I should say. But we want to dive a little further into this, and for those who missed it, they can catch up here, but we're going to first start diving into data breaches. Now they just hit a record high, and even the notices you get may not tell you what to do next. As consumer investigator Carice Jackman explains the simple steps to protect yourself if your info gets exposed.
20th edition of our data breach report.
For more than 2 decades, James Lee, president of the Identity Theft Resource Center, has tracked publicly reported data compromises. And this year's report shows a new record.
We've gone from a little over 100 data breaches in 2005 to in 2025, we had 3,322. So that's an all-time high.
Lee says data breaches can lead to real costs for businesses, and those costs can end up getting passed on to consumers. The ITRC found 81% of small businesses reported a cyber attack, data breach, or both last year, many fueled by AI, with nearly 40% saying they raised prices to cover recovery costs. But Lee says the most troubling finding is a continued downward trend in transparency when companies notify people about data breaches.
There's no information in most notices about what happened, how it happened, what information was exposed or compromised, what actions being taken to make sure it never happens again.
Still, Lee says there is one encouraging sign. People are reading the notices and thinking ahead.
We had absolute zero number of people say they did not read that data breach notice that they received. That was a shock to me. And more shocking was they said they looked for what might happen after they received it.
So what can you do if you get one? Save the notice and do not click links or share information with someone who reaches out claiming to help. And if you think your information was exposed, consider freezing your credit to help stop new accounts from being opened in your name. With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Carice Jackman.
Felt like we got plenty of those data breaches kind of throughout the year, whether it be like Amazon or I know PlayStation might have had one as well, but we'll continue on here and dive into a little bit of overdraft fees. There's a forgotten bill that can certainly hit your account and trigger these overdraft fees fast. And I know just as well as anyone that can make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. But we're going to send it over to Rachel DePompa this time, who shares a simple phone alert that can help you catch it in time to avoid these scams.
Most financial institutions, banks, and credit unions let you set up alerts in their mobile app. Jerry Dale, the Vice President of Financial Education at Virginia Credit Union, says oftentimes these customizable alerts will let you know about certain activity, like large transactions going through.
So that will give you peace of mind and knowing that, hey, I'm aware of what's coming out of my account. And if you did not make that purchase, you can go back and contact your financial institution to make sure that you understand where that charge is coming from.
Dale says you can set up these alerts to notify you of a low balance, those large transactions, direct deposits, and even unusual activity to help you manage your money. Maybe you need to move some over so you don't overdraw your account.
You can set up alerts just to make yourself aware of what's going on. And then you can also have the opportunity to transfer money if you can from savings to checking to cover certain bills.
Dale says you can usually go to your account settings and look for a section like alerts or notifications to set up these alerts. And a reminder, be cautious for fake bank messages. Legitimate banks will not ask you for personal information through unexpected links or messages. With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Rachel DePompa.
And this is also an interesting one coming up here as more people are starting to turn to AI for money advice. I'm not sure if I'd be able to trust that too much, but especially about debt. So consumer investigator, we're going to send it back to Rachel DePompa here, who shares how It's connecting users to help and cautions about what not to share.
A nonprofit that provides people with free credit counseling, Money Management International, says 30% of all online counseling sessions last October came from referrals from artificial intelligence platforms. Certified credit counselor with MMI, Marla Puckett, says that means people are actively searching AI for money help. In fact, she says just in the last month, 1,000 people came to MMI through ChatGPT.
Folks are really buckling down with this economy, and the credit card usage has gone up. Folks are getting deeper into debt, and the interest rates aren't going down. Interest rates keep going up, and so we're seeing a lot of folks looking for help with that.
Puckett says a lot of people like how anonymous they feel on AI. It's a way to secretly ask financial questions without the judgment, especially for the younger generations.
What I do is what's called debt and budget counseling. I help folks to learn how to budget, set up that budget, help with their credit cards, get interest rates reduced, payments reduced so that they're easier to handle. But we also offer a number of other services in the financial realm.
Puckett says she's still leery about AI, but she's glad it's leading people to nonprofits and not scammers. And a reminder, many experts say it's not safe to put personal financial information into AI platforms, but it's okay to use it for broad financial concepts, questions, budget templates. With This Watching Your Wallet, I'm Rachel DePompa.
Yeah, I'd certainly listen to Rachel on that one. Just kind of keep it vague with that AI there. And we're going to dive into kind of the medical field here, as some people are seeing a new health plan or new benefits. Well, a few minutes right now can save you lots of dollars later, as Carice Jackman takes over and shares a few simple steps experts say can help you avoid costly medical bill surprises.
Americans are paying more than ever for their insurance.
Patricia Kelmar, Senior Director of Healthcare Campaigns for U.S. PIRG Education Fund, says when healthcare is this expensive, it pays to understand your insurance and your medical billing rights before you get care.
That's why we always recommend people get really clear on what their insurance covers and what it doesn't.
In its recently updated consumer guide on medical billing rights and protections, U.S. PIRG Education Fund lays out practical steps to help you avoid common billing problems and surprise charges. First, understand your network.
Even if you're on the same exact plan, your provider may no longer be part of that insurance network. So you always just want to double check, make sure every time you're setting up an appointment to ask, are you in my insurance network?
Next, check your medical transportation benefits.
Another important thing to realize is that most people don't have non-emergency medical transportation benefits. So that means if a hospital sends you in an ambulance to another hospital, but it's not a medical emergency, that may be considered non-emergency and wouldn't be covered at all.
Kelmar also urges caution with medical credit cards and other untraditional payment options. She says promotional zero-interest offers can come with strict terms and can get expensive if you miss a payment or a deadline.
And if your payments aren't on time every single time and the payments aren't the full amount every single time, that credit card company will apply that interest retroactively as if you've never paid a payment for months. And the interest rate is usually around 30%, so much higher than a normal bank credit card.
With This Watching Your Wallet, I'm Carice Jackman.
And we'll wrap things up here with Watching Your Wallet as two of the worst words I can ever hear. That's tax time. Yes, it is finally here, and there is a new deduction that could help those who earn tips or work overtime. So consumer investigator Rachel DePompa will kick it back to her, shares what no tax really means, who qualifies, and how to claim it.
You heard the phrase no tax on tips or overtime. It's not necessarily no tax. It's actually a deduction you can take when you file your taxes. For instance, if you earn overtime pay at work, this year you may be able to deduct up to $12,500 of qualified overtime compensation on your federal income tax return. It's up to $25,000 for married people filing jointly. That deduction is gradually phased out if your modified gross income exceeds $150,000 or $300,000 for those who file jointly. Same goes for tips. There's a deduction this year. Michael Joyce with CW Advisors says for tipped workers, the maximum annual deduction is $25,000, which phases out for taxpayers with modified adjusted gross incomes over $150,000. $300,000 for joint filers.
Another piece to that, and this would apply to overtime as well, and this is a new part of the tax law, is a lot of people that earn tips, when they file their taxes, they're taking the standard deduction. So, but they can still deduct this. This is called a below the line deduction. So you can still take the standard deduction rather than itemized deductions, but still take this below the line deduction for tips or overtime.
The IRS estimates there are about 6 million workers who report tipped wages, so a good number of them would likely qualify for this. The overtime and tip deductions are temporary and only apply for the 2025 through 2028 tax years. A lot of the major tax software companies have actively prepared for this change, and you can always read more about it on irs.gov as well. With this Watch in Your Wallet, I'm Rachel DePompa.
And that'll wrap up here on our Watching Your Wallet segment here on the Valley News Now Network. Now, if you have the smartphone, mobile device, download the Valley News app on that, as well as if you have a smart TV, Roku, Amazon, Fire Stick, and then Apple TV. You can get all VNN programs on there, and what we're doing here behind the desk as we continue to work on things behind the scenes here. So thank you very much for joining us here. For Duke Schindler, we'll catch you later.